these are the things that Kaizer Chiefs look for when buying a player. Most of the time, people have complained about Kaizer Chiefs not wanting to spend money and Kaizer Chiefs wanting to buy cheap players. But have we ever outlined what Kaizer Chiefs look for when buying a player? That's exactly what we're about to talk about, because Mr. Junior Kaizer Motaung, the new sporting director at Kaizer Chiefs, the guy, he made it clear that his number one mandate is to reduce the age of the squad and bring on young and exciting players at Kaizer Chiefs. Now, if you are interested to that, please stick around, and to those that will stick around, please do subscribe, like the video, comment in the comment section below. Now, Junior Kaizer Motaung, he said the following: when they buy a player, they look at number one, the return investment. What are they going to gain if they were to buy this player as far as finance is concerned? Number two, they look at the player's contribution in the field. What is this player going to contribute as far as footballing is concerned? Number three, he said that Kaizer Chiefs look at the salaries of this player, because you can buy a player at a high salary and then with a high transfer fee, but can you maintain that player, as far as salary is concerned? So those three things, I think these things are key. But the question that you and I have to ask is this one: when you were buying a player such as Akumu Ake, what were you looking for? Because maybe it was financially viable for you to buy him, but as far as investment is concerned, you're not going to gain anything from the man. Number two, the field. What are you gaining from having Akumu Ake at Kaizer Chiefs? You know what I'm saying? There are so many players, ordinary players at Kaizer Chiefs, where Kaizer Chiefs went on to buy them from wherever they were. They came to Kaizer Chiefs and gave nothing. So if you ask yourself a question of, if this is your buying policy, Kaizer Chiefs management, then the question is, why did you buy another players? Another question, critical question that I think it has to be asked from Junior Kaizer Motaung or to Kaizer Chiefs management at large is, what do you look for when hiring a coach? Because you can then look for all these things when hiring these players or when buying these players. But if you buy these players with a wrong coach, then you're still gonna get a wrong result at the end of the day. So we need to understand the policy that Kaizer Chiefs look for when they hire a player. It is up for discussion right now. We can look at many players at Kaizer Chiefs and ask a question of, did Kaizer Chiefs follow what they say they usually follow when buying players? Now, another interesting thing here is, we need to ask a question of, these things, are these the new things at Kaizer Chiefs, or it was an old policy at Kaizer Chiefs, but Junior Kaizer Motaung, just because now he is as new sporting director, he has made it, or he has renewed or has highlighted that policy which has been there at Kaizer Chiefs. Maybe what he's trying to do is, he went and looked at the policy of Kaizer Chiefs. Now he saw that maybe the ship is sinking because the Kaizer Chiefs management have neglected this. That's another angle to look at the situation. So it is now up for discussion between you and I to look at that from that angle, to say, you've been buying players. There are so many players that came to Kaizer Chiefs, the likes of Sid Johor. You remember that striker, man? That was so fit. There are so many players that I can name at Kaizer Chiefs. You have to ask the question of, didn't you follow that when buying all those players? Didn't you follow the same when you're buying Akumu Ake, Lazarus Kambule, Dax, Andrea Ramanana? I forgot that name. Didn't you follow the same thing? What happened to that policy? Because you bought many players that really didn't fit the Kaizer Chiefs standard. So what happened when you were buying those players? Those are the questions that right now we need to have. And if you are a Kaizer Chiefs fan, looking at Kaizer Chiefs in the context that they have to buy players, I think the best way to hold Kaizer Chiefs accountable, it is using their policy to say, you said you're going to look at the return investment. So if you buy Sipombulu, you get that return investment. Number two, you're looking at his contribution in the field. You will get that on the field. So the issue of salary, you've got a lot of sponsors come on, cover that man. And then those are the things also we should look for in that young player given Tibet who was taken back to Sonoroco Salos. That player would be, if you invest in that player, you will get a lot of money out of of that player. Number two, if you're looking at Sahota, you're looking at Hadebe, you're looking at Jabulo Ngobo, Gosing Blom, those players, if you invest in them, you will get your return investment, like it or not. Even now, if you look at the profile of Hadebe, Swallows were after him because they know what he's capable of. You know what I'm saying? Sahota, people know what he's capable of. There is already that guaranteed investment, return investment, if you focus on that player. But on the bench, you've got a coach that you need to do away because he does not believe in your own policy. Why can't you chase Stuart Baxter away? Because he doesn't believe in your own policy. So those are the things that I think when you look at Kaizer Chiefs right now, you're looking at their policy itself. Then you realize that they have a wrong coach they have a wrong coach for right players. To get on, because you've got a high number of players. You're looking at how Kikandole likes to play his football. You're looking at how Kamabilat wants to play his football. It is complementary with the likes of Hate, with the likes of Hate, with the likes of Jabulo Blom, Jabulo Ngobo, the one they bought from Morocco Salos. You know all those young players. If you look at Kamabilat, Kikandole, and those players, they can complement. So now you've got majority of players that can play a very good football at Kaizer Chiefs, such as been seen under Coach Stuart, under Coach Atazwan. The question is, so why do you keep Stuart Baxter? Because he does not believe in what in what you want to do. So if we are to follow what you are saying, then do away with Stuart Baxter, because your policy of recruiting this time, it seems to be okay. You just need to do away with certain players, but keep the likes of Hadeb, the Tungobo, or keep the likes of just number 14 Sahota, keep Kikandole, keep Kama Billiard. Those are your good players. Build on top of those players, make them your core team. Build using them, and then recruit a coach that can align or is aligned with the type of players you bought in the market. So another interesting thing that I think you and I need to ask ourselves a question, because if you listen to what the new sporting director is saying, Mr. Junior Kaizer, if you look at what he's saying, you kind of get an idea that okay, Kaizer Chiefs is really taking a new direction here. But the key question for him is, why can't you hire a coach aligned to what you want to achieve at Kaizer Chiefs? Because having Stuart Baxter right now, it's a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? You've got the right team with a wrong coach. And I'm going to keep emphasizing that. You've got the right team with a right coach. Do you see the point? Now, you and I, guys, let's get into the comment section below. Let the conversation begin. Let us talk, guys. What is it that you think at Kaizer Chiefs needs to happen right now that is not happening? You know what I'm saying? But my suggestion is the number one person that needs to leave Kaizer Chiefs, it is Stuart Baxter. Do away with Stuart Baxter. Bring a coach that believes in this type of football. Do away with certain players at Kaizer Chiefs. Bring on players. You need a midfielder like Sepombuli that is going to hold the ball for you. Okay, Sitebe is also coming. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the players that are coming at Kaizer Chiefs versus the coach that Kaizer Chiefs have, you're still looking at Sitebe. Sitebe is not this type of a player that kicks the ball there. Sitebe is this type of a player that plays the ball. So you're asking yourself a question of, why do you keep the coach? Do away with the coach, because the type of players that you are recruiting, they seems to be playing a different football than what he's trying to, what he is actually forcing them to do. To see the point, to see what I'm trying to say here. So if you are to comment, if you are to put a pressure on Kaizer Chiefs right now, I suggest you focus on exactly that. Focus on telling them that based on your policy, because in order for you to win against any company, you must use their policy against them. So use these three things that are highlighted by Junior Kaizer in summary. I'm just summarizing everything for you. He said that They look at the return investment. They look at the contribution of the player in the field. They look at the salary of this player. So if you are to pressure this coach named Stuart, if you are to pressure the Kaizer Chiefs management, take these three things and use them there. Even when they are hiring a coach, use these three things to say you recruited players in this way, and the players have got this type of trend. Why can't you hire a coach that is accommodative to what you are trying to do? And that's the only way you could win any argument against Kaizer Chiefs at the moment. Use their policy against them. They will listen to you. Nevertheless, the comment section below, guys, it is open. Let me and you right now, let the conversation between us begin right now, right here.